welcome everybody. I am Bonnie Bruder, and you are watching the AskBonBon Show, where we bring you real conversations about what matters most and introduce you to the people and the tools to create a life that you love. So one of the things that I hear from so many of my clients that are coaches or they're in the healing field is that it's really challenging to not take on the energies of your clients. You know, I myself find myself thinking on weekends and evenings about conversations that were had or maybe issues that people are going through. And I know that this is a really common concern and sometimes a complaint with many people in the healing field. And so today we have an incredible expert. She is somebody that is an author, a healer, and has a very incredible journey herself. And so I would love to introduce everybody to Ashley Samantinos, who is the empath expert. Ashley, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Bonnie.
Of course.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you for flying in from Chicago.
Yes, a great reason to be here and get a little break from being mommy for the weekend.
Yay. So what is an empath for people that aren't familiar with that term?
Yes, I was so surprised to find out how many people didn't know what an empath was, so I'm so glad you're asking me. An empath is a highly sensitive person who often is so aware of the thoughts, feelings, and emotions of the people around them that they will take them on. And it almost feels as if those emotions belong to them. Sometimes they even feel stress because someone near them feels stressed, or, you know, anxiety, or sometimes it can even be a physical ailment, like I have a headache because someone near me has a headache. Empaths are highly, highly sensitive and aware.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I know that you came across this discovery in a very interesting way. You had some challenges yourself.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your journey and your story?
Absolutely, yes. So I moved to Manhattan just a couple days before 9/11. I love Manhattan so much, and it was such an interesting time to move to Manhattan, you know, right before the terrorist attacks. So here I am, you know, just having moved here, and I actually moved to Manhattan on dance scholarship. So I had this budding career ahead of me that I was, you know, so excited about dancing. And right after 9/11, I started getting really sick. And by sick, I mean I had debilitating pain in my feet. I was having trouble walking. I was having so much pain that originated in my feet that I was having migraines because my body couldn't handle the amount of pain I was dealing with. I started going to doctors and specialists all over the country. I even went to Mayo Clinic in Minnesota. And I find that this is something very common among empaths who are highly, highly sensitive, because there's varying degrees of empathy.
Okay.
So I went to Mayo Clinic, they said, I don't really know why you have this pain. They put me through a huge amount of tests and they still couldn't figure it out. And that's what I think is very similar with empaths, because it's not always something you can pinpoint where it is caused. It's not a pinched nerve. It's not, you know, a broken bone or something.
Right.
It's, you know, we have different nervous systems, empaths. We have more highly sensitive nervous systems, and when we don't have the tools to thrive, we can burn out and we can get really sick really easily. So fast forward a little bit, I started realizing after I had a huge cabinet full of medications, I was on so many drugs that I was actually on epileptic seizure medications for years.
I read that in your bio. I couldn't believe. I mean, from healthy to now all of a sudden you're barely able to walk. You're on incredible medications.
Yes. Wow. I never thought that I would be on such medications. And I really hit rock bottom at that point in my life.
Sure.
And so I was thinking to myself, you know, there has to be something else I can do, because the doctors were telling me this is how it is. You're going to be taking medication for the rest of your life. And that is such a red flag to me. And I'm sure with all of your, you know, the journey that you've been on and the things, that's such a red flag whenever someone tells you this is how it is. It's such a limiting statement.
Right.
And I knew that. And so I started looking for other options. So my way of getting healthy was I changed my mindset. I went to a master herbalist, and I found energy healing. And that combination was what completely got me healthy. And shortly after that, I started seeing results so quickly that I no longer had any pain. I got off all of my Western medications, and I'm thriving in my life now. So I love to share that story with people so that they know that something else is possible, even when doctors say that this is it, this is how it is, or even sometimes we tell ourselves this is how it is, you know?
Right.
That-
Well, you get so hopeless. I know I've shared
Right.
with a lot of the viewers, I went through an incredible journey, you know,
Yes.
with terrible fibroids and was told you need a
Yeah.
hysterectomy, and I just fought like you.
Right.
That didn't sound right to
Yeah.
me. So I just kept fighting and fighting for answers.
Yeah.
But it is, you just get to this point where you are at rock bottom is the great
Right.
way to say it, because you don't know
Yep.
what else to do. And as a coach too, I hear that from so many clients. And
Yes.
so it's so great to hear that you have a different way and a different
Right.
system that
Yeah.
works.
And we all find our own way that works for us. I think everybody has their own formula, but seeking that formula is so important because, you know, so many people don't know that as empaths, you know, a lot of the things that we deal with in our bodies, they don't have to continue to be our reality. We can
Sure.
change it. We always have choice. And anyone who tries to tell you you don't have any choice in the situation, you might want to go a different direction and speak with someone else.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely.
So yeah, you know, you were saying also that a lot of your clients, you know, are coming to you as empaths, highly sensitive people, and they're thinking about, you know, a scenario or something that they had just dealt with, and it just came to my mind that one of the things I think is so helpful is whenever I go to a social situation and it's on my mind afterward and I can't let it go, I always remind myself that anytime someone is judging me, it's always about them and not about me.
Right.
And so many people don't yet know that. And that was such a light bulb for me.
I love that. I had an experience like that today. And
Did you?
Yeah, and you have to remind yourself, you have to go back
Yes.
because you kind of, the defenses immediately go
Right.
up and you,
Yeah.
and just like you were saying, I kept mulling it over, and then I just released it. This
Yeah.
has absolutely nothing to do with
Nothing.
me.
Mm-hmm.
So great.
Even when they make you feel like it really is, it's not. It's
Yes.
not about you at all.
Absolutely. And you've written a book.
Yes, The Energy of Expansion. I'm a co-author in the book, and it went to #1. So I was so
Fantastic.
excited. The first book I was in, it went to #1, and I also have another book coming out within the next few weeks. It's called The Energy of Healing. So I'm so excited about these few months. It's been very fun for me.
Fantastic.
And in this book, actually, my chapter is called Can Being Too Sensitive Make You Sick? So it's all about the empathy and about what I just shared with you.
So tell us about that. I mean, what are some of the tools that people can use when
Yes.
they are, because I know even myself, I struggle with that. And,
Yeah.
and it is challenging when you're taking in people's problems and issues and so forth to really
Absolutely.
be able to put up, you know, some barriers and boundaries. So
Yeah.
what suggestions do you have for our viewers?
So the #1 thing I find, people are coming to my classes and telling me, you know, I have been working with protection exercises and shielding and energy barriers and working on my boundaries, and it worked for a while and it's not working anymore. That's what I feel like people constantly come and they're telling me, I was feeling better and now I'm still getting burnt out. And so I like to throw them a curveball and say, what if vulnerability was your greatest strength? What if when someone is throwing some judgment or something at you, what if you push down your barriers? Because that defense, when we put up our barriers, that gives them something to hit against. So when you put your barriers down, you become this space, and their judgments and the things that they're throwing at you go right through you or past you, and they don't have that effect or they don't stick to you, like if you're putting up all the barriers and the defense mechanisms. So I actually like to completely change it around and get you out of defense, because defense means that you're looking for, you're putting energy towards something might happen, something could happen. So if you're being vulnerability or space and putting down your barriers, it's a completely different energy space to be in, and you're focusing on something else. It's empowering you.
I like that.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, I'm going to try that.
Okay, great.
Tomorrow, I have a very stacked day with client after client,
Excellent.
so I will report back tomorrow evening.
Yes.
Yeah, so what else? That's a great technique. What else?
Yes. Okay, so another one that I absolutely love, that was probably the most pivotal tool that I used when I was so ill living in New York. Actually, not right away. I didn't know it right away, but later on, I started asking, is this mine? To every thought, feeling, and emotion that surfaced within me. And so that means, you know, I get a rush of energy when I'm walking down the street, or I suddenly feel really sad when I'm walking down the street. And I'm wondering to myself, like, wow, I must be a basket case. I need to see a doctor, you know. And maybe that's because I'm so aware of the person who just passed me, who had a really difficult day, or the person who passed me who's having anxiety, or the person who passed me who has a headache. We are such incredibly aware beings, and we notice so much energetically, and we are so aware of the sensations around us that people are dealing with, and we think that they're our own. And so I'd like you to step out of that, taking on ownership that every single emotion, every single feeling, every single thought is yours, and ask, who did that originate from? Is that actually mine, or is that someone else's? So most of the time, somewhere like 95% of the time, it originated from someone else.
Interesting.
So a lot of people ask me, well, what if I don't know if it's mine or not? I say most of the time you can assume it's probably someone else's, because we are like these little sponges picking up stuff.
Yes.
When you become that space of vulnerability, you no longer are a sponge anymore. You're not taking on people's stuff. And so if you ask the question, does this belong to me? And immediately you feel a lightness, because it doesn't belong to you, it's immediately lifting something off of your shoulders, then you just say, return it to where it originated from, or let it go, release it from me, because you don't need to hold on to that.
Wow, that is fascinating. I could talk about this subject all day because it's something very near and dear to my heart, but I know we just have a couple of minutes left.
Yes.
So if people are watching, and I'm sure any healer that is watching is going to be interested in learning more, what's the best way for them to contact you?
So I would love if they would visit my website, and my website is omorphehealing.com, and I have so many wonderful tools and tips and free video series and so many things to help them if they're ready to take the next step and become an empowered empath.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And we will be right back with another incredible guest and some more great tips on how to protect your energy.